Welcome to my channel. Subscribe, listen, and enjoy my stories every day. The beeping of the heart monitor is a strange comfort, a rhythm that reminds me I'm still alive. I try to move, but my body feels like it's wrapped in layers of lead. I blink my eyes open, and the sterile white ceiling of the hospital room greets me. For a moment, confusion reigns. I'm in a hospital bed, hooked up to various machines, and everything seems eerily quiet. "Hey, easy there," a familiar voice cuts through the haze. It's Mike, my friend, and he looks both relieved and anxious. "You're awake." "Mike," my voice is a rough whisper. My throat feels like sandpaper. "What happened? How long was I out?" "You were in a coma for almost a year," he says gently, his eyes filled with a mixture of sorrow and awkwardness. "We didn't think you'd come out of it." "A year." The weight of that single word crashes over me. "And Sarah?" "My wife, where's Sarah?" Mike's gaze falters. He takes a deep breath, as if preparing to deliver news he knows will shatter me. "There's something you need to know." I'm propped up on the bed, struggling to keep my eyes open. "What is it?" Mike hesitates, then takes a deep breath. "While you were in the coma, Sarah, your wife, she moved on. She's been living with," he stops, his face twisting into a grimace. "She's been with someone else." "Who?" My voice rises, a mix of anger and disbelief. "Who did she move on with?" Mike's eyes shift away. "Your twin brother, Josh." The room seems to tilt, and I grip the side of the bed to steady myself. "Josh? My brother?" "I'm sorry," Mike says softly. "They were together for most of the time you were out. They're together now." The flood of betrayal is overwhelming. I struggle to breathe as the realization sinks in. The woman I trusted most, my wife, has been with my own brother. My chest feels like it's caving in, the pain sharp and unrelenting. "How did this happen?" I croak. "Didn't anyone tell me?" Did anyone try to stop this?" Mike's face is a mask of guilt. "They didn't know how to tell you." "Sarah and Josh were," he trails off, searching for the right words. "They were happy. And it seemed like you'd never wake up." I nod numbly. "And what about their life together? What's it like?" "They've been exuberant," Mike says slowly, choosing his words with care. "From what I've heard, they're very much in love. They live together, and they're planning a future." I try to process the enormity of the situation. My mind races, and I feel a surge of anger mixed with despair. So, they've built a life together while I've been lying here. And now? Mike's expression is pained. "Now, it's up to you. They're living in a house they bought together, and it's been." I cut him off. "I need to see them." Mike's eyes widen in surprise. "What are you going to do?" I don't have a clear answer, but a sense of determination hardens in my chest. "I don't know yet. But I need to see them." Later that day, once the doctors have cleared me for a short visit, Mike drives me to a nondescript suburban house on the edge of town. My hands tremble as I approach the door. Each step feels like a betrayal of the life I once had. Mike stands behind me, his presence a silent support. "Are you sure about this?" "Yes," I say, steeling myself. "I need to confront them." I knock on the door, and after a few moments, Sarah opens it. Her eyes widen in shock. For a moment, she just stands there, as if unable to process the sight of me. "Ryan," she breathes, her voice barely a whisper. "Sarah," I say coldly, struggling to keep my emotions in check. "We need to talk." Her gaze shifts to Mike, who steps back, giving us space. "Josh isn't here," Sarah says, her voice trembling slightly. "That's okay," I reply. "I'm not here to see him. I'm here to talk to you." She nods, stepping aside to let me in. The house is tastefully decorated, a stark contrast to the chaos I feel inside. Sarah leads me to the living room, and we both sit, the weight of the silence heavy between us. "I'm sorry," she finally says, tears welling in her eyes. "I didn't know how to tell you. When you went into the coma, I was lost. Josh, he was there for me." The words sting like acid. "You don't get to justify this. You betrayed me." "I know," Sarah says, her voice breaking. "I never meant for it to end like this. I thought." "Thought what?" I cut her off. "That I'd just disappear forever, and you could move on without consequences." "I was trying to cope," she says, tears streaming down her face. "I didn't know what to do." I stand up, the anger and betrayal making it hard to breathe. "You broke my trust. You and Josh both." She looks up at me, pleading. "Ryan, please. I know I made mistakes. But I need time to think," I say, turning to leave. "And I need to figure out what comes next." As I step out of the house, the gravity of the situation sinks in. My world has shattered, and now I'm left to pick up the pieces. The future is uncertain, but one thing is clear: I will not let this betrayal go unanswered. The road ahead is filled with possibilities, but one thing is certain: I will find a way to confront both Sarah and Josh. How I do that remains to be seen, but vengeance is a powerful motivator, and I'm not ready to forgive just yet. The night is cold, and the silence is thick as Mike and I drive back to the hospital. His presence, though reassuring, feels like a faint echo against the storm raging inside me. I stare out of the window, my thoughts a whirlpool of anger and betrayal. "You did well," Mike says quietly, breaking the silence. "But I know it's not over. You need to take things slow." "I don't want to take things slow," I reply, my voice tight. "I need to do something. I need to figure out how to make them pay for what they've done." Mike sighs heavily. "Look, I understand you're hurting. But revenge, it won't fix everything. It might just make things worse." "I don't care," I snap. "I need to confront them. I need to make them understand the depth of what they've done." We pull into the hospital parking lot, and I feel a pang of disappointment that the security of the white walls and sterile rooms now feels like a sanctuary. I'm not ready to face the world outside yet, where betrayal lurks around every corner. The next morning, I wake up with a resolve that feels both terrifying and exhilarating. I call a meeting with my lawyer, Julia Carter, a sharp-witted woman with a no-nonsense attitude. She arrives at the hospital, her briefcase in hand and a look of determination on her face. "Mr. Callahan," she says, extending her hand. "I'm sorry to hear about your situation. What can I do for you today?" "I need to get a divorce," I say, my voice steady despite the turmoil inside. "And I need to know how to make Sarah and Josh pay for what they've done." Julia raises an eyebrow. "A divorce is straightforward enough. But the part about making them pay, that's more complicated. I want to make sure they don't get away with this," I insist. "I want them to feel the consequences of their actions." Julia nods slowly. "I'll need to gather evidence of their relationship and your situation. It'll take some time, but we can build a strong case." I nod in agreement. "Do whatever you need to do." As Julia leaves, I can't shake the feeling of a new beginning, one that's shadowed by the looming presence of my brother and my estranged wife. I need more information about their lives, something concrete that will help me build my case and, more importantly, fuel my sense of retribution. Later that day, I find myself outside a cafe, sitting with Sarah's best friend, Emily. Emily has always been warm and kind, someone who shared stories about Sarah's life with genuine affection. I hope she can offer insights into what's been happening. "Emily," I begin, "I need your help. I need to know everything about Sarah and Josh's relationship." Emily's eyes widen in shock. Ryan, I don't know if I should. It's complicated. Please, I urge. I need to understand what's been happening. I need to know how deep this betrayal goes. She hesitates, then nods. Okay. I'll tell you what I know. Emily takes a deep breath, then starts. Sarah and Josh, well, they've been inseparable since you went into the coma. They bought a house together, and from what I've heard, they've been planning a future. They even hosted a big party a few months ago, celebrating their new life together. It's like they've completely erased you from their memories. The bitterness in Emily's voice is palpable. It sounds like they've been living a fantasy, I say, feeling a surge of anger. Do you know if they're engaged or anything? Emily nods. They're not engaged, but they're very much in love. I've seen them together, they're always so affectionate. It's like they're trying to rub it in. A plan begins to form in my mind. I need to disrupt their lives, to show them that their actions have consequences. Emily, I might need your help with something more direct soon. Would you be willing to help me? She looks at me with concern. I'll help however I can. Just, be careful, Ryan. This isn't going to be easy. As I leave the cafe, I feel a sense of purpose. I know that my next steps need to be calculated, deliberate. Julia will be working on the legal side, but I need more than just legal repercussions. I need a way to shake their world, to make them realize the enormity of their betrayal. Back at the hospital, Mike waits for me in the lobby, his face a mix of curiosity and concern. So, what's the plan? I need to gather more information, I say, my voice firm. I'm going to hit them where it hurts, both personally and professionally. Sarah and Josh need to know they can't just walk away from this. Mike nods, though his expression is troubled. Just remember, Ryan, that there are consequences to every action. Be careful. I appreciate his concern, but right now, I'm fueled by a need for justice, for retribution. As I head back to my room, I feel a cold determination settle over me. I'm on a path that won't be easy, but it's one I've chosen. Sarah and Josh have made their choices, and now it's time for me to make mine. The road ahead is fraught with challenges, but I'm ready to face them. I'm determined to ensure that Sarah and Josh understand that their betrayal won't go unanswered. The sun casts long shadows over the city as I sit in my hospital room, plotting my next move. Mike's concern is palpable, but my focus remains unwavering. I need to act quickly if I'm going to make Sarah and Josh understand the gravity of their betrayal. Julia Carter has been working on the legal side, but I need to hit them where it hurts most, personally. My first step is to confront Josh directly, but I need to catch him off guard to make sure my message lands. I decide to visit his workplace, a well-known financial firm downtown. I'm dressed in casual business attire, hoping to blend in and avoid raising suspicion. Mike drops me off a few blocks away, a worried look on his face. Be careful, he says as I step out of the car. Josh is a slick operator. He's good at handling stressful situations. I know, I reply, adjusting my jacket. But I need to do this. The firm's lobby is sleek and modern, with marble floors and high ceilings. I walk up to the reception desk, where a young woman looks up from her computer. Can I help you? I'm here to see Josh Callahan, I say smoothly. We have a business matter to discuss. The receptionist's eyes narrow slightly. Do you have an appointment? No, I admit, but it's urgent. She hesitates, then picks up the phone. After a brief conversation, she directs me to the elevators. You can take the elevator to the 15th floor. Ask for Josh Callahan at the reception. I ride the elevator up, my heart pounding. I've rehearsed this moment 100 times, but the reality feels much more daunting. When the doors open, I walk into a high-rise office area, and a receptionist at the desk looks up. I'm here to see Josh Callahan, I say, trying to keep my voice steady. No appointment, but it's urgent. The receptionist nods and picks up the phone. Moments later, Josh appears, his face showing a mix of surprise and irritation. "Ryan," he says, his voice dripping with forced politeness. "What are you doing here?" "We need to talk," I say, my tone icy. "In private." Josh's eyes flash with annoyance, but he nods and leads me to a small conference room. Once we're inside, he closes the door and turns to me, crossing his arms. "What's this about?" "You know what it's about," I reply, my voice tight. "You and Sarah." Josh's face darkens. "Ryan, I don't think this is the right place for this conversation." "Maybe you should." "Don't play games with me," I cut him off. "You think you can just take everything from me and walk away without consequences?" Josh's demeanor shifts from irritation to cold calculation. "Look, Ryan, I get that you're angry. But coming here, making a scene, what good is that going to do?" "It's not about making a scene," I say, leaning in. "It's about making you understand that your actions have consequences. I'm not going to let this go. You and Sarah will face the repercussions." Josh's eyes narrow. "You think you can just disrupt our lives and that'll make you feel better? This is childish." "I'm not here to make myself feel better," I snap. "I'm here to make sure you both face what you've done. Sarah isn't the only one who's going to pay for this." Josh's expression hardens. "You're making a mistake, Ryan. If you continue down this path, you'll regret it." I stare at him, the weight of his words sinking in. "I'm done talking. Just know that I'm not finished yet." With that, I turn and leave the office, my heart racing. As I walk back to the lobby, I realize that confronting Josh wasn't enough. I need more leverage, more proof of their betrayal. That evening, I sit with Emily at a quiet diner. She's agreed to help me gather information, and her willingness gives me a glimmer of hope. "So, what's next?" Emily asks, stirring her coffee. "I need to find more evidence," I explain. "Something that'll make Sarah and Josh really uncomfortable. I've been thinking about their public image, especially Josh's. If I can find something damaging, it could help." Emily nods thoughtfully. "I might be able to help with that. I know some people who might have connections or insider information. I'll reach out to them." "Thanks," I say, feeling a spark of determination. "I need everything you can get." Later that night, as I'm back in my hospital room, Julia calls with an update. "I've started working on the divorce proceedings," she says. "It's going to take some time to gather all the necessary documents and evidence. I'll need your cooperation for a few more things." "Anything you need," I reply, eager to move forward. "Good," Julia says. "I'll keep you posted on our progress." As I hang up, I feel a mix of relief and unease. The legal battle is just beginning, and there's still a long road ahead. I'm not sure what the future holds, but I'm ready to face it. The next day, I receive a call from Emily. "I have something," she says, her voice low. "I've been talking to my contacts, and I've found out that Josh has some questionable financial dealings. If we can prove there's corruption or misconduct, it could be damaging." My pulse quickens. That's exactly what I need. "Can you get me the details?" "Working on it," Emily assures me. "It might take a little time, but I'll get it to you as soon as possible." I hang up, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. The battle is far from over, but with Emily's help and Julia's legal expertise, I'm beginning to see a way forward. As I sit in my hospital room, I realize that this is just the beginning. Sarah and Josh have made their choices, and now I have to make mine. I'm committed to seeing this through, no matter the cost. The path ahead is fraught with challenges, but I'm ready to face them all. The days blur together as I navigate the storm of emotions and legal battles. Julia is working diligently on the divorce proceedings, and Emily's revelations about Josh's financial misconduct are proving to be a potential game changer. The strategy is becoming clearer, but I need one final piece of the puzzle to turn the tables. On a crisp autumn afternoon, Emily and I sit in a small coffee shop, far from the prying eyes of the city. She's holding a manila envelope, and her expression is one of grave seriousness. "I've got the details on Josh's financial dealings," Emily says, sliding the envelope across the table. "It's not just questionable, it's illegal. There's evidence of embezzlement and fraud." I take the envelope, my hands shaking slightly as I open it. Inside are documents, emails, and bank statements that paint a damning picture. The evidence is clear and comprehensive. This is exactly what I need to hit Josh where it hurts. "Emily, you've done a fantastic job," I say, looking up at her. "This could change everything." "I hope so," Emily replies. "But be careful. Josh is a powerful man. He won't take this lying down." "I know," I say. "But I'm ready." As the evening draws near, I decide it's time to confront Sarah one last time. I need her to understand the full scope of her betrayal and the consequences of her actions. With the new evidence in hand, I head to her house, a place that has become a symbol of everything I've lost. I knock on the door, and Sarah answers, her face pale as she sees me. "Ryan, what are you doing here?" "We need to talk," I say, pushing past her into the living room. "I have something to show you." Sarah's eyes widen as I pull out the envelope and lay the documents on the coffee table. "What's this?" "Evidence of Josh's corruption," I explain. "I'm going to make sure he pays for what he's done, both to me and to the law." Sarah's face flushes with anger and fear. "Ryan, you don't understand. Josh and we've been building a life together. This is our future." "Your future?" I reply, my voice cold. "This isn't just about me and you. It's about right and wrong. And Josh's actions are indefensible." Sarah looks down at the documents, her hands trembling. "I didn't know the full extent of what he was doing. I thought he was just being successful." "That's the problem," I say. "You didn't question it. You just went along with it, even when you knew it was wrong." Before Sarah can respond, there's a knock on the door. I turn to see Julia standing there, her face set in determination. "I've got news," she says, stepping inside. "The evidence you provided is enough to push forward with a major legal case against Josh." "Thank you, Julia," I say, feeling a sense of vindication. "But I need to confront him now." Julia nods. "I'll handle the legal side. You focus on your next steps." Sarah's eyes are wide with fear and anger. "What do you plan to do now?" "I'm going to make sure Josh faces justice," I say firmly. "And that everyone knows the truth." As night falls, I make my way to Josh's house. I can feel the tension in the air as I approach the door. With a deep breath, I knock. Josh opens the door, his face a mixture of surprise and hostility. "Ryan. What now?" "I've come to give you one last chance to explain yourself," I say, stepping inside. "But this time, it's not just about me. It's about the consequences of your actions." Josh's eyes narrow as he sees the documents in my hand. "You think you can just waltz in here and threaten me?" "It's not a threat," I reply, my voice steady. "It's a reality check. Your illegal activities are about to come to light, and there's nothing you can do to stop it." Josh's expression shifts from defiance to panic. "You wouldn't." "I would," I cut him off. "And I will. The law is closing in on you, and your betrayal is about to be exposed." Josh's face turns ashen as he realizes the gravity of the situation. "This isn't over, Ryan. You've made a powerful enemy." "I'm done with you," I say. "And I'm done with Sarah." As I leave Josh's house, I feel a mix of relief and finality. The confrontation has been tense, but the resolution feels satisfying. The pieces are falling into place, and I'm ready to move on. Back at the hospital, I sit with Mike and Julia, discussing the next steps. Josh's corruption will be exposed, Julia says. And the divorce proceedings are moving forward. It's just a matter of time. Mike looks at me with a mix of concern and admiration. You did what you needed to do. Now, it's time to focus on yourself. I nod, feeling a sense of closure. The battle has been long and arduous, but it's finally coming to an end. Sarah and Josh will face the consequences of their actions, and I can begin to heal and rebuild my life. As I prepare to leave the hospital, I look back at the journey that brought me here. The pain, the betrayal, and the final confrontation have all led to this moment. I'm ready to start anew, free from the shadows of the past. With the legal battle behind me and the truth finally revealed, I step out into the world with a renewed sense of hope and determination. The future is uncertain, but I'm ready to face it, knowing that justice has been served and that I can finally move forward.